Hey all, I'm trying to put together a way to do a self-grading quiz that has a few options. This one here, what I've done is I've simulated a spreadsheet that will give you results like a form will do. And I've made 4 different questions about the moon. And this is what it might look like. You want your first row to have or actually row 2 to have your answers, the correct answers. In row 3, you'd have your values. And right now I've got my regular questions worth 10, but you could have those be different values. They don't have to be the same. One could be a lot more than the other depending on the type of question. I've also put a bonus in here. Then down in this area, what I've done is I've kind of simulated as if somebody had filled out the form and you've had 3 different forms submitted. All right, so let's get down to the calculations. First thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate the total possible points for the questions. Now, since this is a bonus question, we're not going to count that. But we'll start in here. We'll start with our formula for the sum. So equals the sum. And we want to count these 3 questions. They're required. And hit return. And there's our total points right here. Okay, these questions right here, this is the answer, the points awarded for a correct answer for question 1, then question 2, question 3, and the bonus question 4. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take this student right here, or whoever number 1 is, and we're going to use an if function. So I'm going to say if. And what I want is if B2 equals B4, then we want it to equal whatever the value of B3 is. Otherwise, we want it to equal 0. All right, so that's how that works. So that person will get 10 points for saying this shape of the moon is a sphere. Now, to make this so we can use our fill down and fill right function, I'm going to anchor it. So I'll go back to the formula. B2 is a constant. No matter what row you're on, it's constantly going to compare it to row 2. So if I put a $sign in there, right in between, it's always going to come back to row 2. Now it's also, well, and for the B4, as we look at different rows, it'll be row 5, row 6, so that'll change. However, the B3, where the value is, that's also going to be a constant. So I'm going to put a $sign in the middle of that too, so that never changes. All right, I hit return, and there's my 10 points. Now watch what a spreadsheet can do. You see this little square right here? What we can do is, we're basically going to do the same thing for each question. So I'm going to drag across, let go, and it's telling me that they've got all the questions right. All right, now we're going to do something similar here. And since I use that $sign with the B2 and the B3, I can highlight this row. Then with that little square, I can pull down to my other rows. It does the same thing. So this one I can see automatically. Oh, that one's the wrong answer. These 2 are wrong. Only 1 of the 3 people got the bonus right. All right, so now I'm going to do a total for the right amount, total of right points. So I'll do equals sum again, because I want to add. We're going to highlight what they have. Close the parentheses. So they've got 35 points. Now the same thing here, I can fill that down, and it will fill in the others for me. My percent correct, I'll have equals what they achieved divided by what the total points were possible. Okay, now we didn't count the bonus in here, so it will, if they've got everything right, it'll make it over 100%. All right, so 117%, that's quite a bonus. And how I made the percent sign was, right here you have a percent, and it comes out with 2 decimal places, so you can play with these 2 buttons and round it to the whole percent. And again, pull that on down. Oh, it didn't like it. Something happened there. All right, so we've got this area here where it wants to divide by 0, trying to figure out what happened. If I look at my formula, this first one is dividing by F3, And then that changes as you fill down to F4 and F5. Well, look at F4 and F5. They're empty, so they are indeed 0. What I forgot to do, and a good lesson for us all, is that's what that $sign is for. We want it to go back to F3 every time. Okay, it's going to stay in column F as we move down, but it's going to shift row by row by row. So I'm going to put a $sign in there. Hit return. Now when I fill it down, it should work. Voila, there it is. $sign saves the day. So here's their percent correct. And as I said up here, they don't have to be the same amount. Let's say you want it to be 20 and this one to be 25. It's going to change everything automatically. These are now worth 20, these are worth 25. It changed the total right, and it changed your percent correct. All right, so go ahead and use those. The if right there is very important. So let me just look at that again. If B2, that was the correct answer that we put in, equals B4, which is the first entry of a student submission. If they equal, then the value of this cell is going to be 20 in this case. If it's not correct, then it's going to be 0. All right, so good luck. Have fun with that. And it's a pretty cool little tool. It even lets you do a bonus. Okay,